Hey guys, Justin at Vintage 55 Restorations here. Another frequently asked question video. How do I defrost my vintage manual defrostable fridge? The quick answer is each one is a bit different, but I'm going to show you a couple of the basic types and how. So this is just a non-restored one that I pulled in, and it's been plugged in for a little bit, and you can see it's starting to get frosty. This is frost. That will be in your vintage fridge, and it is normal. Your coils, if it has them visible, will have it on it, or the walls will have it on it if your coils are internal. And that's normal. You just want to defrost it once it gets to a point where it starts obstructing things. So like on the ice tray, once it starts getting to the point where you can't put stuff in there anymore, you want to defrost it. Usually the manuals say once a month. Depending on ambient air, how much you open it, how much humidity in the air when you open it, where it's located in your house, direct sunlight, shade, how you pack it, what's in it, if you have your gasket sealed correctly. See my other videos for that. All those things cause frost buildup to build differently. But the big difference is frost is normal for a fridge, ice is not. Ice means your door seal is bad. You can see the ice around this. This door seal is not good. I haven't started on this yet. That's ice. So on this model, these combination models is what they're called when there's two doors. They're really easy to defrost. They have a built-in drain in here. And all you do is turn it off, move your freezer stuff to your fridge, open this, and let this drain. And all of this will melt, drain down the drain into the drain pan. You can speed up the process by scraping and doing stuff also, which you can do that on all manual defrost fridges. And I'll show you that on a regular one now, single door. So this is probably the most common setup you'll have for a manual defrost fridge. Single door model with a separate internal freezer, whether it's a little freezer box on the side or a cross top model, which is what this is called. It's a standalone. You can see it's physically just hanging in there. It's not divided in any way. This will all get frosty. It's supposed to. There's little holes in it that'll allow it to drain once you're trying to defrost. Most models with a standalone freezer like that, or like a hanging freezer like that, will have. This one's labeled a chiller. Most of them will be doubled as a chiller drawer, but what this is a water catch. So if you look underneath here, you can see the coils. Those would be covered in frost, and you take this out, you flip this over, and slide it back in, and that little flap goes all the way to the back to catch any water and put it into here. Different ones are different. They'll drain that water down into this, or some of them will have a hose that makes it hit the wall and then drains down the wall into like a basin underneath the bottom drawer. Sometimes there'll be a drain down there that goes underneath to a catch pan. Like I said, they're all a little bit different, but the theory is the same. So you'll have your ice buildup, or your frost buildup, not ice. Although if you have ice, it's kind of the same deal to defrost. The first thing you want to do is just to make it easier time-wise on yourself, just get as much of it out as you can. These are not available anymore, but this is an ice scraper for a fridge. This is a Cold Spot branded ice scraper, and what this is it's just a little metal blade, not really sharp, in a bowl, and you just go and you try to get as much of that out, and just put it in the sink. You can put it straight into this pan because you're going to get more water out, and that'll just cut down on the time of stuff that it takes to melt. In theory, you could just put your flap over, leave all your ice in here, turn it off, and leave it, and it will eventually defrost itself completely into the pan. But if you have too much buildup and you've waited too long, it'll overflow the pan, or just take a long time. So that's the first thing. Don't ever use an ice pick, because if you put an ice pick through one of these coils, you're gonna let all the freon out, and then it's a major repair. If you let that halfway melt, you're big chunks will start to separate, and you can use either an ice scraper or a butter knife you can use to just kind of pop it off. Don't use anything sharp, don't stab anything. And like I said, this is just if you want to do it quickly. If you want to just wait, it'll all do itself by itself. But just pop, and then you get a big chunk, and you could put that in your tray or sink or whatever, and make it go a little bit quicker. The more often you do it, the less hassle it is. If you just have a little bit of frost I mean, you'll have frost immediately after plugging it in and it cools down, but I mean frost buildup. If you do it pretty often, that'll melt super quick into here, dump it, boom, done. It takes, half hour. But if you let a big old ice block and everything, you're gonna have to leave it forever if you're just gonna let it melt. Or, take off chunks of it and do the bigger thing, like I said. So my recommendation first off is just do it more often, and it's way easier. Another recommendation they don't tell you in the manuals and everything is not all of it will go in the chiller. A little bit will get past it. Just take, whatever your fridge is, I recommend just take your bottom drawer out and throw a towel in the bottom. It'll soak up anything else that's left. It'll keep the moisture out. The easiest thing that they sold back then and actually helps to speed up that entire process is fridge defrosters. So I have two vintage ones here. This is a infrared defroster, and now defrost your refrigerator or freezer without work. And it is essentially a space heater, and you just put it in your fridge. Which, that being said, you're putting an electronic in a water area. I mean, not electronic, but an electric device in a water area. So be careful. It does have, feet so that you're not touching anything with anything, but you still obviously have to be really careful with something like this. And all you do is you plug it in, this gets hot, and you set it in there, and it melts everything a lot quicker. And that's as simple as that. And they came in a couple different types, but they do work wonderfully. You just have to be careful. Don't leave them unattended, obviously. But an alternative to doing this, but in the same vein, if you just want to speed it up, you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer. Hair dryer doesn't really put off enough heat to speed it up too much, but a heat gun does. But with that, you just got to be real careful that you don't heat anything plastic, because you can melt plastic with a heat gun pretty easily. Defrost your refrigerator without melting ice cubes. It's supposed to basically only defrost the areas you want to defrost. But so like I said, most fridges are different in terms of how to defrost them. Some are a lot easier, some are not. But the theory is all kind of the same. If you want to know about your specific model, you can go looking for an original manual. There was usually an operator manual for each fridge. And it'll tell you exactly how to do it for your fridge. But knowing that and looking at what you have, you should be able to figure out how to do it from there. But it's something that we don't have to think about as a society much anymore. And so it's kind of a burden for people when they switch to a vintage fridge. Like, oh, I got to defrost it. And it's like, yeah, but once you're used to it, it's totally fine. Me and my wife have had a vintage fridge for 10 years now, and we don't even think about it anymore. Like I said, you just take care of it when you're, if you plan on cooking a big dinner and you're in the kitchen and you have a bit of frost buildup, just defrost it when you're in there. And if you do that, once a month, then you never have to deal with like a major defrost. The manual defrost in vintage refrigerators is one of the main reasons why they are so energy efficient. Which I have another video on that as well, that you could find in my channel. Anyway, Justin, Vintage 5 Restorations, and I'll talk to you guys later.